All right, well, E3 2015 hasn't officially started yet. I think maybe Fallout already nipped the honor of winning E3.
November fucking 10th,
Wow.
2015!
I don't even know where to start with this one. We have a
yeah.
whole sheet of things to get through. Let's just talk right off the top shelf. Number one, we have a date, November 10th, 2015, this year, within
Like,
a number
many
of
months is that?
A handful.
5.
Close
5.
enough that I am now going to
5?
have to reschedule holiday time to make sure that I have that week off. It's there is a free Fallout game out tonight if you want to just pick that up, which looks
Fallout
pretty
Shelter.
rad. We'll
Fallout
talk about
Shelter?
that in a little bit.
It looks so good!
Let's roll it back to the start. We had a long presentation. Todd Howard showed off a bunch of concept art and nonsense, and then they dove into the game. First thing we saw, gentleman looking into the mirror, changing his face. Walk us through.
It was so okay. So you can play as any skin color, any. You can actually fix their face to make it look like whatever you want to look like. But what surprised me about this demo is his wife is awkwardly standing over his shoulder. And then they swapped her in, and it turns out you can play as a woman in Fallout 4. So those rumors were correct,
Yes,
the
yes,
casting.
absolutely.
And this is where you make your character, and I think you can name them as well.
Yes, and this is in 2077, so this is the before the war happens, which is something we've only seen little parts of in the Fallout universe. After this, there's a sort of they definitely edited down the next couple of minutes of the early part of the game before the war eventually came to U.S. shores. But yeah, one of the things they showed here as well was that you have a baby, and the baby is based off of almost like GTA 5 online style.
Pick your parents.
Yeah, based on the parents. Conversations. Look at this. No more awkwardly zooming in on faces, Lucy.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, well, there's awkwardly zoomed in on that guy. But no, it's just, and it's fully voiced.
Yeah.
I think that's another big thing is that all the main characters are fully voiced. And while the facial animations still look a little bit awkward,
Eyes aren't quite as lifeless as they were in Fallout New
Yeah.
Vegas. Kevin, what do you think about that aspect of it? Open world RPG games, fully voiced for a while. Sort of, Fallout's always been languishing a little bit back, or rather Bethesda games have been. What do you think of that addition?
Yeah, this is really exciting. I mean, everything about the presentation was actually really getting me excited. I mean, yeah, sometimes maybe it's a little awkward the way their lips move and that kind of thing, or way their legs move. But I don't know, like it seems like they've been actually paying attention to the RPG world around them and said, hey, you know what, The Witcher is doing this cool stuff, Dragon Age is doing this cool stuff. It's about time we should probably live up to these ideas.
And we saw some of this stuff in the trailer they revealed just a number of weeks ago. This all happens
terrifying.
before the vault part.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing that happens in this one, which does exist in Fallout lore, is the idea of cryogenic stasis. There was Vault Zero, which I think was part of New Vegas's lore, which was one of the vaults in which somebody who had been around during the 2077 was able to come out. Usually you're the descendants, you were like great-great-grandchildren kind of situation. Whereas in this, the character you create, the mother or the father or the wife or the husband, you come out of the vault 111 as them again.
The final survivor.
Yeah.
Of that vault.
And here we have our little Fallout 3-esque reveal of the landscape as well, showing off.
And it's not just brown.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
another great
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it's there's color. There's still a sense of wonder that's not just, oh God, everything's been destroyed and scorched.
It's kind of like, like obviously the world got destroyed and now nature's kind of claiming it back slowly.
Yes, and it looks like a lot more nature than what we saw on the West Coast in terms of like just even bushes and whatnot, or what we see in the DC area in Fallout 3. He also walks super nonchalantly for somebody who's just seen all of his friends and family die. He's looking all right.
The world I know is gone.
They
I'm just going
tried-
to saunter down.
All my friends are dead.
They pushed the idea of the third person in Skyrim as well a lot in their
I really liked
preview
it.
stuff. Maybe it'll work a little bit better in this. It seems
This
to-
isn't bad. I still look at that green font
Yeah.
interface and
Yeah.
I think I'll be adjusting that when it comes time for me to play. But
I'm sure they'll let you. And then, they show off, this is Codsworth, the robot, which was the family's de facto mechanical slave.
So a cool thing there is that they said that they have recorded thousands of names.
Yes, for
haven't
the
they,
child as well.
Yeah.
They've dumped in terms of voice acting.
that's really
Which is
great.
cool.
And then this is they were very quick to show that these conversations, like in Fallout, are quests that you can walk away from, come back. You can kill him if you want. You can continue on with the quest, which was one of the sort of the main pillars of Bethesda's games was the ability to just murder anyone you want. The idea that you had all the choice in the world to do what you wanted.
And just like I wanted, look at those dialogue options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, called it.
Yeah, and a nice bit of just in terms of the voice acting, I just can't believe that a game of this scale is going to have all this. I like the way that it's also saying "you okay." It's almost like Witcher style, letting you know if this is a dialogue option with a different color that you're going to dive into for a little bit longer. But pushing on from this, we then saw later the gas station that we saw in the trailer, and the little doggy. Alexa, you must be very happy.
I'm really excited that you can command the dog. It sort of reminds me of the Call of Duty a couple years back. Was it
Riley.
with the dog,
Riley,
Riley? Where you could
Hopefully it
give
doesn't
him
remind
commands.
you too much of Riley.
No, not too much. I mean, they look similar, but not too much. But they said contextual commands.
Ready to fuck some
for the
shit
dog.
up.
So it's not quite controlling the dog, but it still looks like the dog is a major component of you navigating the landscape and you surviving, which I think is, yes. Okay.
It reminds me of the dog from what is that? The
Fable 2?
No, the Ubisoft game about the war. Valiant Hearts, where you can send the
oh,
dog
right.
to go
Yeah.
pick things up and get them for you, which looks like you can do a lot with this guy.
Earlier on the demo, when they showed off the dog for the first time, picking up that wrench and that sort of area that you had, which we were speculating was where you'd be building weapon parts and building your suit and whatnot. Then they showed off as well, the VATS is back, which
Yes.
was...
You got your vets?
Yes, I think a lot of people were probably happy about that. They showed off a lot of Boston as well in this one. They didn't really allude to the scale of the world, but it certainly looked a lot more varied in terms of color palette this time around.
Yeah, I think starting with all the concept art was a very smart thing to do as well, because they could have just dropped you in and you would have been like, oh, well, this is it. But with the concept art that showed the real scale of the different kinds of environments we can
Death
expect.
Claws are back.
Death Claws look so good too. Look at the way they move, like a thing, as opposed to what that Fallout 3 block of meat.
Yeah.
We saw rad roaches,
so
we saw
happy.
rad scorpions, we saw mole rats. On one of the concept art things, there's a Protectatron there. We saw mole rat queen. Look at that, it's like a zombie ass person.
Feral ghoul.
Feral-
Oh, that's
yeah.
what it
Oh,
is.
nope,
God,
nope,
nope. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Nope.
The variety game, I guess they were hammering home the idea of gameplay variety, which has always been a
Yeah.
massive pillar for the Fallout games. But look
at
what is
this!
this shit. Just like calling in air support.
And then you're in. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna get up there and
It's
Gosh.
the first game that had for flying
this.
in their
Boom.
engine was the
Killer Teddy Bear.
one of the expansion packs with Skyrim that you fly around. So I guess they pulled that stuff in.
Look at those
Jetpacks.
They
jetpacks.
showed so much. I don't think I've ever seen a press
Oh my
conference
God.
where they've shown this much footage.
I think
for
this
one
is
game.
like going in the record books or Hall of Fame or V3 for most groundbreaking, most impactful conference.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
the sheer amount of volume. Look at this. Take that megaton.
God.
Like,
Just
And you know
done.
what? Like, good on Bethesda for waiting until the game was almost done to announce
Yeah.
it.
But even,
good on them.
But
Thank
even
you.
then, they weren't finished. They showed off that big gameplay montage after
Yeah.
waxing lyrical about the game forever,
Yep.
and then they pull you back in and show you all this stuff. Like
hey,
they
look at all this
basically
shit we
The
can let
body
you do
suit.
now.
So this is Hearthfire basically, but
Oh,
yeah, really expanded.
it's think about what's happened in the world since the last Fallout game came out. Games like Rust and looking at like online survivor games, and not only can you build your own house, but you're building your own community.
Yeah.
And defenses. I mean, it looks like there's going to be some kind of like defense mini game here,
Saying it's
where
a
you're going
tower
to be
defense?
attacked by.
Did you see there was a great tower defense mod for Skyrim that someone
really?
made, and like
Yeah.
I would love if this was a kind of runoff of that.
So in this, you can build your own house. You can make place to store your Pip-Boys, to store your weapons. You can make terminals, and then probably program them. Like the idea that you could do all this for a house, and then also set up electrical things. And they said you had to collect water and food for the people who lived in your Fallout. And all this is actually optional. It's like not necessarily part of the core Fallout 4 experience.
And now you can carry 40,000 pounds in your inventory.
Oh, yeah, have they talked about encumbrance yet?
Not yet, but I have to assume. Please, I'll raise it a little bit. This is a lot of crap to carry around.
Then there's all these jerks
Look at
come in.
that. He's made his own artillery. Oh, traps.
And if that wasn't enough, then they show off that, apart from going around collecting loot and then building your own world, you can also do the same thing for weapons. And not even weapons, but weapon components.
Yeah.
Not even weapon components, but power armor. It's look like this nonsense.
It got really nitty gritty here.
And they're like, oh, you don't have to do any of this stuff. He's like,
It was
oh, by the
all
way,
optional.
this is just there if you kind of want it.
It's all look, this is all stuff we did. We made this iPhone game on the site. Oh yeah, by the way, like you can play video games on the Pip-Boy
Oh
now.
my God.
And listen to tapes on
And
the
it's like a
Pip-Boy.
Donkey Kong kind of
Yes.
game
Yeah.
right there, yeah.
And then just when you thought there wasn't enough of this madness, they announced that an actual physical Pip-Boy is also being made with a touchscreen.
Just stick your phone in that, and
Yeah.
suddenly it's like, oh, look at these things.
It's got a touchscreen. It's actually more advanced than the real Pip-Boys. Who's picking one of these up?
Absolutely.
Everyone.
I'll totally get one.
I literally
Everyone.
can't even with that Pip-Boy.
I don't even know what I would do with it. Where would I wear it? Would I wear it?
All day,
Can you
every
imagine?
day.
Can you imagine? You just think about all the people that walk around San Francisco with Apple Watches on. It could be a
We'd
real.
all be
this
walking around with just these Pip Boys all day long.
This is some next level nerddom.
Yeah.
It's like listening to I don't want to see the world on fire over and over and over. Or Three Dog. You might be able to get Three Dog on it all the time.
Can you? Oh, yeah.
Could just get his own radio station.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep.
Suddenly, I don't know.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yeah, and then at the end they dropped the bombshell. I guess 11-11-11 was what they did for Skyrim.
Sure. So
Yeah.
11, 10,
Vault
15.
111. Yeah.
11,
It's
10, 15.
the
Yeah.
10th of November 2015 we'll be able to play Fallout 4. I actually cannot think of an E3 game announcement that's had this much impact. I know it's
No.
like the moment afterwards, so we're like caught up in the fervor.
Yeah.
But Kevin, can you think of anything that's been quite as overtaking as this?
No. No, I don't. What else?
Kevin
I
Van Ort's
can't
lost
even-
for words. It's
What do I
finally
qual-
happened.
What do I qualify it? What do I qualify it with? It's like no.
I was about to say, is this better than the Killzone 2 trailer?
Well, yeah, because we
Yes.
can believe this. This
Yeah,
is
I mean,
actually
like-
gameplay we're
the-
looking at. This
The only
is
moment
stuff.
that's had like any kind of a similar reaction was the Xbox One PS4 price thing.
Yes, you're
That
right.
just
Oh,
for the
yeah.
moment of everyone going, no, and that's basically what happened in this war room when they announced the release date.
But
This
I
is-
think this was better.
This was
won
better.
out.
Yeah.
100%.
How many days until November 10th, 2015? 148 days, 4 hours, 24 minutes, and 36 seconds. That's how long we have to wait to play Fallout 4. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to
I
say
need to
about
go
that.
into
to be perfectly
cryostasis
honest.
now, just
Yes.
so that like tomorrow it'll just be here.
Let's all go into cryostasis, but stay tuned to GameSpot.com for continuing coverage of Fallout 4 for the next 148 days.